All right, we're back again here in the Sort of Sports Podcast, episode 161. Ladies and gentlemen, I have seen Fantastic Four First Steps, and I must say, it's fantastic. I mean, I know that's. I'm sure like 99% of reviews have made that joke, so it's not like I'm the most original with that one. But it was fantastic. It was really good. Like, really good. Like, it's funny because for a while there, you'd see those trailers for Marvel movies, and they would always flash like, some review from like Variety that would say best Marvel movie since Endgame, and that was in like every single trailer for a Marvel movie for a long time there. Like pretty much post. I don't know, when did I'm trying to think timeline MCU here. Like when did the MCU is just not what it used to be become like the common thought? I would say post Thor: Love and Thunder. That was the last time I remember there being some kind of excitement around one of the movies. But between like Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness, which I like, but like wasn't as good as I think people were hoping it'd be, and then Thor: Love and Thunder being a complete disappointment because I was not a fan of that at all. I think that was when that sentiment kind of came in that Marvel just wasn't as good as it used to be. Because then in 2023, we had Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania, which like I haven't even seen, just because like no interest. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which was excellent, but everybody was like, well, yeah, we knew that'd be excellent. And then the Marvels, which I also haven't seen. It's crazy that there were 3 MCU movies released in a year, and I didn't see 2 of them. If you would have told me that back in 2018, my young self would have been like, Ryan, what the hell's wrong with you? What happened? Um, did you go like blind or something? Why didn't you go see them? So it's just funny to think how much things changed in that 5-year period. But then 2024, Deadpool and Wolverine, that was like, I think 2023 was the year that kind of became the common sentiment that like Marvel's just not what it used to be. And you could really feel it going into this year that they were desperate to have some big wins this year. Like they didn't really seem to care about Thunderbolts. I think they didn't think it would hit the way it did. And granted, money wise, it did not. It really did not do that well at the box office compared to most Marvel movies. Um, but even though it was reviewed well, people liked it, got a lot of positive buzz, and then we went into Fantastic Four, which you could tell they wanted and they thought was their big swing. Like if this doesn't work, we're in big trouble because we're building the next event film around this. This movie is, the cast, the Fantastic Four is a very key piece to Secret Wars. And this movie's doing a lot of stuff from the Jonathan Hickman run on Fantastic Four. That's where it's getting a lot of its ideas. And I haven't read that run, but I know I have a basis idea of what Jonathan Hickman likes to do with Fantastic Four and how he worked into Secret Wars. And that's clearly what they're taking a lot of inspiration from in this film and like the early Jack Kirby stuff, which I have read some of, which I really like. But I'm going to order that little, like, because DC does compact comics, which are awesome. I've been reading the Batman and Superman one. Whew! Whew! It's good. It's good. It's basically like a world's finest comic. It opens with Public Enemies, and then the comic after that, some with Supergirl. I just finished Public Enemies last night. It was excellent. Loeb really understands like Superman and Batman and why they are fun together and what makes them similar and what makes them like he really gets the yin and yang of it. Yeah, if you want an excellent comic to read, DC Compact Comics for $10, get the Superman and Batman comic. I think it's Superman slash Batman. I don't think it's Batman slash Superman, but it's essentially world's finest comic, and you should get it. It's great. So if you have any interest in that, I'd recommend. But anyways, Marvel put out their own compact comic that is a Fantastic Four comic that's a bit of the Jonathan Hickman run. So it's like I'm gonna have to buy that. I thought about doing like the Omnibus for Hickman, but I'm not that into it. If I'm gonna get an Omnibus, it's probably gonna be Jeff Johns Green Lantern because like that's like the run, isn't it? Isn't that like the one? But anyways, that was a bit of a sidebar here for this Fantastic Four review. Must admit, we started talking about comic books, but you could tell Marvel knew this needed to be a big hit, and I think it will be. And I thought it was excellent. I would say 3 best movies I've seen this summer. In order: Superman, F1, this. You can honestly talk me into any of those in any order, though. Like, there's a chance I end up liking this more than F1 if it sits with me longer. F1 was hitting all the notes of things I like, but this was awesome. And this is very interesting to me and because it's very different than most Marvel movies we've gotten ever. And Matt Shakman, the director on this, I was looking into his career. I mean, he's a TV guy. I think this is his first feature film he's directed, at least in a long time, potentially like ever, which is nuts. He directed the WandaVision show. That's how he got this job. He's directed some episodes of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's directed some episodes of Psych. Love Psych. He's directed a lot of TV episodes. He directed an episode of Mad Men. Like, he's directed a lot of television, and they gave him a shot here on Fantastic Four. And my goodness, he crushed it. Like, absolutely crushed it. So, but like, I guess what I think's so interesting about it is if you said Marvel movies with a distinct style, it's like Guardians. You could argue with me that Winter Soldier, but even then I think that style is kind of the standard MCU Russo brothers style, so I don't think so. So it's Guardians and this. I think it's really it. And even then, like, Guardians does have a style, but a lot of it's more in the music and the dialogue. But then that dialogue style and sense of humor kind of bled into the main MCU anyway. This is the most distinct MCU movie ever. Like, period, point blank. This is super visually distinct. They're doing, like, panel shots. Like, they're doing shit you see in, like, The Suicide Squad by James Gunn. They're doing that type of stuff in an MCU movie? Trying to bounce my eyebrows. Can't really tell. There we go. My goodness. Like, come on. It was... Whew. Movie starts. They do the Marvel Studios logo, but it's a whole different style because we're in this alternate universe, Earth 828, honoring Jack Kirby's birthday, August 28th. And I was like, as soon as it started, I was like, oh, this is different. This is different. And I liked that. And I enjoyed they took a swing. I'm honestly shocked it got to have this much style when the studio knew there was so much writing on it. I figured, it was going to be very clean Marvel style. All right, we know this works. Let's run it. And that's not what we got. That is not what we got. We have had an MCU, like back-to-back MCU movies where I think the directors actually got to have some vision with it. That's some pretty good stuff. And so I was really pleased with this. I adored it. I adored this movie. I thought it was great. Probably, like, if we're saying the best Marvel movies since Endgame, I would say easily, for me, like easily, it's the top three are Fantastic Four, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and then Spider-Man No Way Home. And then I'd say, like, Thunderbolts is 4. Is there one that's 5th that's any good? I don't really love the Black Widow movie. I think Shang-Chi's good for the first half. Then when they go to the other dimension, I don't like it. I enjoy Doctor Strange, so put that 5th, right? I think that is, like, the best 5 they've had post-Endgame. But what would be interesting is you said, okay, now peak Marvel, right, which would be probably, I'd say, 2017 to 2019 range. It pretty much did not have a bad movie in there. Like maybe Ant-Man and the Wasp, right? Probably the weakest one in that period. But 2017 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Thor Ragnarok. Sorry, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Thor Ragnarok, and Spider-Man Homecoming. Whew! That's heat. And then Infinity War and Endgame in 18 and 19, along with Spider-Man Far From Home and Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's a really good period. Also, Black Panther was in 2018. I forgot about that. So, my goodness. Like, my goodness. It's a great period for them. You could even kind of bundle in 2016 with that if you want to throw Civil War in, but then you could add Doctor Strange, which I don't think is the best movie. I think Doctor Strange 1 is kind of fine. I don't know. It's kind of crazy to think we got a Doctor Strange movie before we got like a Spider-Man movie in the MCU. Like, just big picture, just kind of, it's just. I mean, I guess granted, we had an Ant-Man movie before either of those. We're never getting an Ant-Man movie again. I hope that's clear. Like, we'll get to this later. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm thinking about the larger MCU too much. I need to just focus on this film. That's what I got to talk about. So give me a second. I love the suits in this movie. I love the futuristic 19 like is it 19 like 50s, I guess, like futuristic 1950s style. They went for like somebody said 60s. I'm like, I think it's more 1950s. It's like early 60s style. It reminded me a lot in Back to the Future when he goes back. It's kind of like that, but future, like a futuristic. It's like the Jetsons is kind of what it reminds me of, because they're in this whole alternate universe. And it was fun to have a Marvel movie that had nothing to do with the larger perspective. Like, it was just these heroes in this world. It felt like an early 2000s superhero movie that way, which is kind of something I didn't realize I missed. I was like, oh, this is fun. It's very interesting because you got two movies I think are very similar in what they're doing. They're trying to do genuine representations of these characters that people for a while have said are boring. And that's Fantastic Four and Superman, right? They're both trying to kind of reignite interest in their property. The DC Cinematic Universe trying to reignite interest in this new DC Universe. Marvel trying to reignite interest in the MCU before they spend $1 billion on Doomsday and Secret Wars, right? Both of them have a lot riding on it, and both of them go for very distinct styles, right? I would say this one even more so than Superman, even more so a distinct style. But overall, they're both, like, the director's vision is very heavily involved in what the movie is, okay? But what's very interesting is the Superman movie is very much living in this world of superheroes. You have Green Lantern show up, you have Mr. Terrific show up, you have Supergirl show up, you have Hawkgirl show up, you have all these different superheroes. Metamorpho shows up, right? You have it's a world of superheroes showing up. And I really liked that there. And then we get to Fantastic Four, and Fantastic Four is in a world where there's no other superheroes. It's just the Fantastic Four. And I really liked that there. So it was interesting because I think if Superman went the route of he is the only superhero, right, in the whole universe, like Superman the movie from 1978, I would not have been as interested in that Superman movie, because we've seen that, right? We've seen a Fantastic Four movie where they're the only superheroes, but for some reason it really worked for me for them to be the only superheroes. And maybe it's because they were the first Marvel heroes. Naturally, they work better in a universe where they're the only ones. Not saying they can't be in a larger universe. I just think it was interesting that I enjoyed it in this film, even though in another film I was happy with how it was a larger universe. It's just kind of funny the way it worked out that way. But, anyways, I remember, well, I got to say also the visual style. When it does like the ABC, we're doing full spoilers, by the way. If just making sure it's clear. If you don't want any spoilers for Fantastic Four, I would leave now. When they do the opening with like the ABC logo and it's like old school style television, oh my gosh! I'm like, Matt Shakman is clearly very interested in like that old Americana style, because that's what he did that episode of WandaVision like, and he brought that to this. I loved it. It was so unique, and he has to direct the sequel to this. He has to. And I mean, initially I was a bit surprised that they were going to put Franklin Richards in this, but he obviously did serve a real purpose to the story, because I love the Galactus stuff. I mean, my goodness, they nailed Galactus. This is the best movie Galactus by a mile. And that is the interesting thing of the story is if you're doing Fantastic Four, right, you're probably going to do one of two stories. You've got Doctor Doom versus Mr. Fantastic, which Secret Wars is most likely going to be Doctor Doom versus Mr. Fantastic for the fate of the universe, pretty much. Or the fate of the multiverse, actually. Doctor Doom versus Mr. Fantastic, or you're doing Fantastic Four versus Galactus. There's other stories you can do, but those are kind of the big two. And so they've already done the Galactus versus Fantastic Four thing, and that works very well for a standard first film, but I love the Galactus stuff. I really liked Fantastic Four. A big piece of them is going to space and all that. Like, if you're writing a Fantastic Four movie and they're on Earth the whole time, we're doing something wrong. Like, they are in space a lot, doing, like, the Fantastic Four, I mean, yes, they fight crime, but, like, they go to space and they go through wormholes, and all that was done in the second act of this movie very well, and I loved that. And I loved that when they went to Galactus' ship and all that, and I didn't really mind the Silver Surfer gender change because it makes sense. I think part of the reason they did it is because then you can do the Johnny Storm thing, being interested in her and all that, and I liked that. I liked how that played out. I thought that made sense. I did see a tweet that was like, "What the hell? Johnny should have wanted kiss. Johnny should have wanted to kiss a dude and made it just kept it as Norton Rad." And I thought that was funny. I was like, "Well, I guess that would be you could do that." But it was funny that her name was Shallow Ball because all I could think of was the episode of Fantastic Four cartoon when he raps Shallow Ball. If you haven't seen it, you should look it up. Johnny Storm sings Shallow Ball. It's not good. But I really liked the space stuff. I loved that. And I think we should talk about the cast. The uniforms. I love the Fantastic Four suits. I like how they're all unique. I like that, like, they have, like, a texture to them. I loved it. It was great. It was really good. I love the way this movie looks. This movie looks incredible. Like, visually, it's a stunner. And Michael Giacchino, I mean, killed it on the score. Just absolutely murdered it. And we knew he was gonna. I mean, he killed it on the Batman. Same guy who did the music for Ratatouille, which is like one of the best movie scores in any movie ever. Like, don't lie to yourself. Ratatouille has an excellent score. So he did that. I think he did The Incredibles also. So he's basically done 2 Fantastic Four movies at this point. So this music in this is part of what sells the film. It's really good. Like, really good for this movie. So I really liked that. But let's talk about the cast, because I remember when they first announced this. For a while there, you know, we all kind of thought it was going to be John Krasinski and Emily Blunt as Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman. That was kind of the thought, right? And Marvel leaned into that and had John Krasinski show up in Doctor Strange's Multiverse Madness, and then he got, you know, turned into spaghetti, and that was crazy. Yeah, that's still, like, just a wild, like, look up that GIF is just horrifying. And I think that was kind of Marvel being like, because I remember, I forget who it was at the time, I think it was Nando V Movies that was like, yeah, I think this is Marvel saying, there's your fan cast, we're done here. Like, that was your fan cast, glad you had your fun, but that's not going to be our main universe, Mr. Fantastic. And I think it might have been the right call, because I loved Pedro as it. And I remember there was a period where it looked like it was going to be Adam Driver as Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman, and then I forget who the other 2 were that were announced. Like, there was rumored to be Human Torch and The Thing. And then none of those were true except Vanessa Kirby. So who knows if that was even the truth at the time or if somebody was guessing. But, you know, we ended up getting this cast. And I guess I'll go through one by one. I loved Evan Moss Bacharach as, I think it's how you pronounce it, as The Thing. He was great. And I like that he did the New York accent. It wasn't as gruff as I would like it to be, but he did it a little bit, and I enjoyed that. I like that they had him wear a Brooklyn Dodgers hat. I loved that type of stuff. I think The Thing looks great in this. Like, he looks just like the Alex Ross art, and that's pretty cool, because Alex Ross makes some damn good art. And so I really like the way they took The Thing in this. This is the best The Thing has looked. I'm very partial to the early 2000s Fantastic Four movies because I watched those a lot when I was younger and I really liked them. And I actually think that cast is really good. But, the plastic suit thing I actually think looks pretty good. But this, for like if you're going to do CGI thing, this is easily the best The Thing has looked. I think it looks even better than the plastic suit, I must admit. I didn't like how he had the beard, though, for the final battle. It's a little nitpick from me, though. I would just like it's the big final battle. Why does, give them all their iconic look? Thing doesn't need a beard for that. I don't know. Also, like, from a suit perspective, I like his suit, but he needs to be shirtless in the future. Just my opinion. The Thing needs to be shirtless. There's no underlying reason, I promise. I just think he should be shirtless. It's not like I'm like, oh man, well, let's see that thing. No, I don't know. I was thinking about it after we walked out of the movie. Like, I saw like an image of him that was like, oh, this is a cut scene, and the Thing was shirtless, and I was like, oh yeah, why wasn't the Thing shirtless? It's kind of weird. I don't know. So it was funny. But anyways, really liked him as the Thing. Wish he would have leaned a little more in the accent, but we're good. I still really liked it. Was a big fan. Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. I really think it was impressive how they went for a different type of Johnny Storm. They did not just write him the way they wrote him in the 2000s movies. Now, I'm really partial to those. I really think it's funny, Chris Evans' performance as Johnny Storm. I like his, like, douchebaggy, playboy thing he's doing. I think it's really funny. I think it's fun to watch. He's got some funny lines in there. I love his performance as Johnny Storm. He's my favorite. But they're doing a different interpretation. Johnny Storm is a lot more intelligent. They like downplayed the playboy thing. Like, you could tell, like, he definitely is smooth, but he's not, like, it's not over the top the way Chris Evans' character was. It was a little more of a sincere version of Johnny, and I think it works better for this film, I must say. For what they're doing in this movie, this character of Johnny works better. And Johnny was, like, low-key the big winner of this movie. Like, a lot of people, I feel like, are going to come out of this really liking Johnny, because I thought they did a good job with him, and I think Joseph Quinn did a very good job. It's very funny, because years ago, I said that Dacre Montgomery would be my casting for Human Torch, and apparently I picked the wrong Stranger Things side character. I just think it's funny. Stranger Things, side note, okay, so we have the last season of Stranger Things coming out this year, right? I just think it's funny because let's say you went back in time to, like, 2017, like peak of Game of Thrones popularity, right? And you say to somebody, yeah, Game of Thrones, very popular show. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I love Game of Thrones. And you're like, okay, here's the funny part, though. The two biggest stars that will come out of that are Jason Momoa and Pedro Pascal. I think they'd be like, what? Really? Like, Kit Harington is one of the main players here, and Emilia Clarke, one of the main players here, and they're not going to go on to big careers. You're like, no, not really. The big stars. Also, where's Kit Harington's Black Knight? Is he going to show up in Secret Wars? We set that up in Eternals. Do you remember watching Eternals? Because I do. Sadly, I do. I've seen some people say that, like, Eternals is underrated. No, it's awful. It's so bad. Eternals is bad. Nah. It's a bad movie. But his name is Icarus, and he dies by flying into the sun. Now, granted, you're like, that makes sense, Ryan. Okay. But him being Icarus, like being named that, implied that he was the character of myth, right? So how did he just fly into the sun in, like, 2023? Well, that movie came out in 21, but remember how the MCU timeline's a little messed up because of the blip. How did he fly into that modern day, but yet back in the day they had that story about him? You know what? Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe they mentioned that in the movie, that he'd done it before. But if so, how did he live? Because didn't that kill him at the end? I don't know. That movie's bad. There's a chance that I'm, like, completely off on this and that they did address this. But, like, I don't want to rewatch it. The movie sucks. Anyways. But it's just funny with Stranger Things because if you said to somebody, like, yeah, look at the cast of Stranger Things, they're like, oh, man, this is our next generation of young stars. And you're like, yeah, the only one of those who's going to be a big deal is Joseph Quinn. They'd be like, what? Excuse me? And you're like, yeah, none of the main kids are going to go on anything big. Finn Wolfhard's actually going to release some music. And if you haven't heard Finn Wolfhard's music, I think it's pretty bad. No offense to him. Well, that would be offensive to him. So I'm sorry, Finn Wolfhard. If by any chance you see this, good for you, follow your passion. But me personally, I don't like your music. I think it sounds bad. Wow, this is really negative. Side note, just shitting on Eternals and Finn Wolfhard's music career. But it's just funny to me. Like, is Joseph Quinn going to be the big star to come out of Stranger Things? Props to his agent. I mean, we've got, like, the agent all-star team. At least we got, like, potentially the two team captains of the agent all-star team because we got Pedro Pascal, whose agent is clearly the MVP. Like, if we're talking agent league, Pedro Pascal. If we're talking agent league, right? Pedro Pascal's agent is the MVP of the league for, like, the last 5 years. It's crazy. He comes off, being in Game of Thrones for a bit, not really a main player in that. Gets signed on to The Mandalorian, and since then has been on an insane hot streak. Like, he's in that movie with Nick Cage, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. He's a smaller role, okay. He was in Narcos. Yeah, but then The Mandalorian kind of put him on the map, right? And everybody's like, oh, this guy's pretty fun. Then he gets in Last of Us, big HBO show. And then now, this year, he's Mr. Fantastic. He has the Mandalorian movie coming out next year. He's in The Materialists, which is like a bit, like not really an artsy-fartsy, but it's A24, so like, okay. And then he's in Eddington, which is like Ari Aster, who's more of an artsy director, gets in that. So I'm like, he's just trying to do everything. It's very impressive from Pedro Pascal. Keep in mind, he's in Corona ads too. So Pedro Pascal, it's very impressive with him because I feel like everyone I know knows who he is. But if you said, what's his big movie? They'd be like it's Fantastic Four is the biggest movie he's ever been the lead in. He's been more of a TV guy. But he's been in movies too. And it's just very interesting to me. Like, his agent deserves a lot of credit because it feels like everybody knows who Pedro Pascal is. Even though from a movie perspective, I can't name you a big movie he's been the lead in. Now, granted, we're going to get into a period where he is because he's Mr. Fantastic. He's going to be one of the main players in Secret Wars. He's going to be in the Mandalorian vs. Grogu movie. Like, he's going to be in big movies now. But before this, he was more of a TV guy, and everybody I knew who he was. And I'm saying Last of Us and Mandalorian were his two big shows. On one of those shows, he's got a helmet on the whole time. So it's very impressive that the career Pedro Pascal's managed to carve out. So his agent deserves a lot of credit. But Joseph Quinn's agent gets him in a quiet, like coming right off Stranger Things. He said, all right, we're rolling. Quiet Place, whatever they're called, Day One. Is that what it was? I think so. I don't know. Quiet Place, Gladiator 2, Fantastic Four. Like, his agent just go bam, bam, bam. It's very impressive. So, Agent All-Star team, it's Joseph Quinn and Pedro Pascal. They got, like, two of the best agents in Hollywood. It's impressive. Like, very impressive. Glenn Powell's agent's also up there because he's cooking, too. Can't wait for The Running Man. But Glenn Powell's also my guy. So there's that. But, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm. I thought she was good. I really like her Sue Storm. I think doing the Franklin Richards storyline gives Sue more to do, makes her a key player. I mean, she was genuinely a really important character in this film, and I really liked that. And I really liked Vanessa Kirby as her. I thought she did a good job. I think she plays the intelligence of Sue well. Like, you believe she can match Reed Richards. Like, Reed Richards is smarter because he's, like, the smartest dude. But, like, you believe that, like, she understands him and she can challenge him. I really like that. It's an important piece of Sue Storm. But let's get to the big dog. Because Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic was awesome. Now, granted, I'll say again, I love the early 2000s Fantastic Four cast. I think they're all really good. I think Alba's great as Invisible Woman. I love Evans as Human Torch. Michael Chilkis, is that how you pronounce it? Either way, the guy who plays the Thing, the guy from The Shield, he's great. And then I love Gruffald as Mr. Fantastic. He's really good as him too. But Pedro is my favorite Mr. Fantastic because he really plays into the Mr. Fantastic is the biggest warrior war in history. And I really liked that. I liked the Mr. Fantastic he gave us. I thought he did excellently as Mr. Fantastic. This is actually probably one of the first times in my life I've seen Pedro be challenged to act. And that is not Pedro's fault. He's a very good agent. And his agent, basically, based off what I've seen, now granted, I've not seen I haven't watched Narcos, right? I haven't seen Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, actually. I'm just aware of these things. But out of the things I've always seen Pedro in, to me, he pretty much either plays Corona beer commercial, ooh, I'm so sexy, man. Oh, here's in Gladiator 2. Also, Pedro's in that. That's what I'm saying. His agent is incredible. Wow. But he either plays like, hello, I'm cool, sexy, man. Don't you like me because I'm so cool and sexy? Or he plays, like, I'm gruff and tumble and older, but I'm still kind of sexy, aren't I? That's, like, the two things he plays. In this, like, he is not gruff and tumble, nor is he cool and sexy. He's, like, worried. He's, like, hyper-intelligent worrywart. And he's really good. And so I'm impressed. So props to you, Pedro Pascal. Great job. Now, I am still mad because he wanted to do a transatlantic accent, and they wouldn't let him do it. And that's bullshit. And they should have let him do it. That would have been awesome. So I'm very pissed off by that because Pedro was trying to do an interesting acting choice and you wouldn't let him do it. And that would have made his performance even better. And it would have actually fit the movie with what Matt Shackman's trying to do. Ah, man, it would have been so good. Would have been so good. I'm really disappointed. I really am. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I loved the cast. And the key part of Fantastic Four movie is the cast. Ralph Ineson is Galactus. I mean, yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good stuff. He was great. He had presence. Galactus felt like a big deal. The design of Galactus was perfect. I love the Galactus stuff. The Galactus stuff was so awesome. So the cut content did bother me a little bit though. Like, because it's one of, if you don't know, it doesn't bother you. But I said to Genevieve after the movie, I was like, yeah, it just kind of bothered me because I know like there's a whole fight sequence with Red Ghost and Mole Man that we missed. And she goes, oh, that does make sense. She's like, I can see where that could have been. She's like, I wouldn't have thought about it, but now that you say something, you know, those sequences have moved, that montage beginning very quickly. And she's like, that would make more sense. Like, they talked about Red Ghost enough to the point I felt like I should have saw him. And I'm like, yeah, like, you're right. So I wish they would have left that stuff in. I get it would have been a 2 hour, 20-minute movie, but I think that would have been really fun. And I think you also would have the movies using their powers more. Because that is one thing, is like, Mr. Fantastic doesn't stretch enough for me. I think Mr. Fantastic's powers are goofy as hell. And I like it. And I wanted to see more of it. He does a little bit of stretchy stuff, and Galactus almost rips him apart at the end like a rubber band. It wasn't enough. He should be stretching more. There was no bit like in Fantastic Four 2005 when he goes, a stronger man, and his jaw bends. That's funny. I just wish we saw more bendy Mr. Fantastic. Is that too much to ask? I think you shouldn't be afraid to show us his goofy-ass powers because I like his goofy-ass powers. Lean into it. This movie's very genuine. This movie has a distinct style. You could have done it. I want more. And Secret Wars, he better do some bullshit stretchy stuff. We need it. We need it. Now here's the interesting part. Let's talk about the broader MCU to wrap the review up. Because I did love this movie. Thought it was great. Probably going to go in the Hall of Fame at the end of the year. Really liked it. Okay. Here's the big piece. I said back when they casted Pedro as Mr. Fantastic, this could be their new Iron Man. Not Mr. Fantastic by himself. You're not going to make a Mr. Fantastic movie. But the Fantastic Four's characters, if you nailed the cast and you nailed Pedro as Mr. Fantastic, he could be your new Iron Man. He could be your guy that leads the Avengers and is like, when the Avengers movie shows up, not only do you have Fantastic Four movies, but you also do Avengers movies, and he's the leader. He's very smart. He is a character that is very important, and you could build the universe kind of around him, right? I mean, hell, the Fantastic Four could show up in a Spider-Man movie, and it wouldn't even feel that out of place. It wouldn't. It's happened before. Also, I have really high hopes for Spider-Man Brand New Day. I don't want to get too high hopes, but I'm hearing good stuff, and I'm getting pumped. I'm very excited. But anyways, I think based off what we saw in this movie, Pedro, like Mr. Fantastic and the Fantastic Four, but specifically Pedro as Mr. Fantastic, could be their new Iron Man that they build stuff around. And I would like to see it. I really would like to see it. But you're going to have to earn that. You have to build with it. We're going to have to see how they write him. How are the Russos going to write him in Doomsday and Secret Wars? But if they do it right, he could kind of be the main piece of that film. So, is he the lead? And Thor is, because we've heard Thor is like the secondary lead. So is Mr. Fantastic the lead and Thor's secondary lead? I'm kind of interested in that. Here's my thing. So the post-credits scene, Doctor Doom shows up. I think it's dumb they didn't show his face. I posted a TikTok the other day talking about this. I was like, I don't think the general audience realizes that Robert Downey Jr. is Mr. Fantastic. And it was funny because there's some comments being like, well, everybody saw, it's like one of the most liked Instagram posts of all time. The general audience definitely knows. I don't think so, because that implies that people remember an Instagram post they liked a year ago. I don't think the majority of people remember that. I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm sure if we took a poll of everyone who went to Fantastic Four and we said, hey, who is going to be Doctor Doom in the MCU? And the amount of people that could write Robert Downey, like, just right in Robert Downey Jr. or RDJ. I think it's below 50. I really do. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see it. So, I mean, that's just my thought. I don't know if the general audience really remembers that. But as far as that goes, Doom shows up in the end. They don't show his face. I just think it's weird. Like, why not show his face? Why not be like, yes, Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom. You know, bam, here it is. Because some people probably forgot. Like I said, I think the majority of the audience doesn't remember that. And, you know, what's run it? I just think it's weird that it's going to, like, be first shown off in, like, a trailer. But whatever. I've been pretty negative about Secret Wars on the pod. I think we got to talk about it. Because they're going to reboot the MCU after Secret Wars. And I must admit to you, I really hated that idea. And I still hate it. But I get it, right? I get why they would do that. You kind of have to have the universe rebooted because you can't just be like, pop, now the X-Men are here. You have to have it that, you know, the X-Men have been around since the dawn of time, because it doesn't really work if the X-Men just started existing one day with their history. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. So you have to have it that way. My fear is that Marvel's just going to be like, okay, well now, you know, Glenn Powell's Iron Man, let's go. Like that, and it's like, unless they do it so differently that it feels new and interesting, I don't want to see it, right? If we're just running back essentially Iron Man, the same vibes as the early Iron Man's, like, I don't care to watch that. And that's my fear, is that Disney sees the money they're making off these live action films, like Lilo and Stitch, you know, when they make live action remakes of stuff, and they're like, wait a minute, what if we just essentially 1-to-1 remade Iron Man 1 with a new cast? You know, with a couple different tweaks. I don't want to see that. I really don't. I don't know who does. That sounds terrible. Now, if they reboot the MCU and they go in a very distinct style and they do something very different, I'm interested. And I must admit, I really liked how this movie had a distinct style. And it was really fun. I would feel a little more individualized. And this might be a crazy take, but if they're rebooting the MCU, they're doing that. They've already said. If they redo it and they go for a more distinct style in the films, like they did with this, I might be interested. If you go very differently than you did early MCU, you go a different direction, you do a completely different view of the Marvel Universe for this second round of it, I'm intrigued. I really am. Now, granted, I would go heavy X-Men. I would do Fantastic Four, heavy X-Men, and, you know, I get they're going to do Iron Man and stuff. I understand. But, where's my Blade movie, for what it's worth? I said on the podcast the other day, James Gunn, where's the Booster Gold show? And then not 5 days later, we got news about the Booster Gold show. So this is my shout out. I want the Blade movie, and I want it now. I know there's a report they're working on it. I don't believe you. I don't believe anything until I see set pictures of Mahershala Ali in costume. So that's what I want. Marvel, I demand the Blade movie as fast as possible. That's my new demand. Please and thank you. So I want the Blade movie. It will be awesome. Do not mess it up. Can you get Ryan Coogler? Get him in the building. Let's run it. Let's go. Okay. Back to the regularly scheduled programming. My concern, though, with Secret Wars, right? Because, like I said, the saga after that, they're probably going to do heavy X-Men. I don't know why you do Iron Man, but they probably will. But you got to go very differently, right? Maybe you do like the old school rounded gold suit Iron Man. Like, you go very different with this new MCU. And maybe I'm interested, I must admit. But I'm also saying we're never getting an Ant-Man movie. They're probably just going to make it like kind of like the Hulk, where he just always shows up and stuff. I would be shocked if we get an Ant-Man movie ever again. Like till the end of time. Like I don't believe it. Just, it's Ant-Man. I don't know. I'm just shocked. I don't know. I just don't think it's gonna happen. But and that's nothing against Ant-Man. I'm sure there's Ant-Man enjoyers out there, but I don't think they're intrigued. Unless like some writer comes in and really soups up Ant-Man in the comics, then we might have a chance. But my concern to Secret Wars is this. There's really, realistically, 2 movies that this could be. The first one is Mr. Fantastic and the rest of them, like, because the Fantastic Four we know are coming over to the MCU's universe. We saw that in the end of Thunderbolts, right? Oh wait, I have to point this out. I forgot to say this. Thunderbolts is interesting to me because it kind of felt like old MCU style, right? And it was, wow, I forgot that I could like this style. This was good. Fantastic Four is interesting to me because it was so different. I'm like, could this be the new MCU style, right? Thunderbolts was good, don't get me wrong. Fantastic Four, in my mind, is much better. Could Fantastic Four be the new way the MCU goes? Distinct vision, like a whole different world almost, feels like. Thunderbolts feels very real. Very like 2014, 2015 MCU. This feels very different. Could the new, when they reboot stuff, kind of feel more like this? I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued. I really liked it. But also, once you reboot the MCU, we better not do any origins for characters we already know the origin of. They're like, no. That's just my thought. But are they really going to do Thor when they reboot the MCU? Like, really? I don't know. Like, I'm it's intriguing to me with that because, like, the Thor movies never should have worked. Like, the first one's pretty good, the second one's awful, and then the third one is, like, really, really incredible. And it's just funny to me that, like, Thor is such a major player in the MCU. Like, are they really gonna run that back? Probably not. But anyways, there's 2 ways Secret Wars goes. I've been trying to say this for like 10 minutes. My bad. This is a problem when I host these by myself, is I just go and go and go. That's why my Uncle Travis said to me before. He's like, you're actually a lot better with a co-host. He keeps you moving. He's right. Okay. If it's Reed Richards and the Marvel Universe, Fantastic Four come over, like I said, we saw that in Thunderbolts. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. I think it's kind of odd that they teased that in Thunderbolts and then they never followed up with it in this movie, but whatever. It's Mr. Fantastic versus Doctor Doom for the fate of the multiverse, right? It's those 2 squaring off. I'm interested. I really am. I still think it's dumb that Robert Downey Jr. has been cast as Doctor Doom. I'm still not a big fan of that. But whatever. I'm sure it's nothing against Robert Downey Jr.'s talent. I think he's incredible. I think in a vacuum, he could nail it. Don't get me wrong. It's just the fact that he played Iron Man. And so I'm terrified that it is going to be some sort of alternate universe Tony Stark, which is not Victor Von Doom, which is not the Doctor Doom character. It's him in name only at that point. So, like, what are we doing? But then the other problem is, let's say that it's not that way, and he just happens to look like Iron Man, right? He just happens to look like Tony Stark. Well, that's dumb too. So it's just not... I guess I prefer that he just happens to look like him, but it's kind of dumb, isn't it? I don't know. Hopefully they make it work. I want the movie to be good for what it's worth, but I am terrified that it's not Mr. Fantastic versus Doctor Doom for the fate of the multiverse. I am afraid the movie we will get is the Fantastic Four and everybody's trying to defeat Doctor Doom, but they can't. They need the help of the greatest hero the Marvel Universe has ever known, and they go to an alternate universe and get Tony Stark. So it's Iron Man versus Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr. versus Robert Downey Jr. for the fate of the universe. That's what I'm terrified for. Because I don't want to see that. Do you want to see that? I don't. So, yeah, that's my thought. All right. Well, for what it's worth, we got 3 MCU movies coming in the next 2 years. We got Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out next July, Doomsday coming out next December, Secret Wars 2027 May. I'm excited. I genuinely am. Am I as excited for those as I am for the DC stuff? No. Did this make me feel more positive about the future of the MCU? Yes. I am more hopeful about Secret Wars and Doomsday. I am a little scared about what their quality's going to be. I really want them to be good, but like I said, there's just so many characters they've thrown at us now. It's like is Ms. Marvel going to show up? You get what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know. But it's the multiverse, so like anything could happen, but also like none of it matters because it's the multiverse and we know it's going to be rebooted after, so it's like, I'm sure Franklin Richards is going to be the reason it gets rebooted. The other thing is, I don't want to see this Fantastic Four in a universe other than their own. So when Franklin Richards reboots the Marvel Universe, is it all just going to be in this Fantastic Four style? Because that would be cool, but then the other problem is now you don't have distinct visual styles for the movies because everybody's just doing the Fantastic Four style. Once everybody's super, no one is, right? You get what I'm saying? Where it's like, if every movie looks like this, well, then it stops being special. I would like Marvel to go for more distinct style in the future, sure, but I don't want it to all be the same style, you know? But I don't know. It's we'll see what they do. I hope it's good, though, regardless. I watched Happy Gilmore, too. It was, you watched it. I mean, everybody apparently watched it. I wish Netflix released movies in theaters, though. Hopefully they change that in the future. Happy Gilmore 2 was, about what I expected. I got a video coming out on my YouTube channel. I always link it in the description. It's going to be about what exactly I believe makes a great comedy film. So that'll be coming out probably within the next week or so. So make sure to check that out if you're interested. So I got the video coming out on my YouTube channel, Ryan Klinger, just my name. So it's in the description of this on whatever you listen to this on. But that is it from me. Maybe I'll talk about Happy Gilmore 2 more in the future. But I had a lot of Fantastic Four thoughts. So I think we should just end it here. And plus, it's funny that my Fantastic Four review was 40 minutes. So, boom, baby. We're out of here. Go watch it. It's good. Also, First Steps, it's cute because there's a baby. I get the joke. See, I'm on you, Marv. I'm on it.